Davis
Here comes the
outside.
flare screen on Davis.
Artino romping to the basket, gets it to fall. 11-point lead.
Brickman bringing down that basketball, taking good controls. Teguara back at it again.
In Sunday ABL action, it was the Kuala Lumpur Dragons and San Miguel Alab Pilipinas that were able to get the big victories to boost their chances in the playoffs. We'll talk about those two wins and a lot more on the latest episode of ABL Recap.
Subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified of the latest videos of the ABL. Follow all of our social media accounts and visit our website for more updates.
Once again, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us for this episode of ABL Recap. It's a Sunday edition, and we talk about the big wins of the Dragons and San Miguel Alab Pilipinas. You've got Chuck Araneta here taking care of your breakdown of those two games. We begin at the OCBC Arena, where the KL Dragons picking up the 77-68 victory over the Singapore Slingers. And a little bit of context and a little bit of history made by the Dragons here, because this was actually the first time ever in their history that the Dragons were able to sweep their road games against the Singapore Slingers. And they did it in impressive fashion, with Amir Bell leading the way with 18 points and 5 assists, while Will Artino had another solid performance. He would have a total of 16 points and 9 boards. And whenever these two teams match up, talking about the Dragons and talking about the Slingers, the challenge for the Dragons always has been, how will they be able to manufacture offense against this gritty Slingers defense? But the tides have changed somewhat this season, because with guys like Simeon Lepichev, who has been an absolute game changer for the Dragons, it is KL right now that has been able to pride itself on its defense, and they shut down a Singapore Slinger squad. They limited the Slingers to only 37% from the field and shot only 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. And the impressive thing about what the Dragons were able to accomplish is that they got the win even though they struggled from the field as well. They only were able to get 5 three-pointers in the game, good for 26%. But guys like Amir Bell, we talked about, 18 points, 5 and 5. And even Lepichev, 16 points and 9 rebounds. And with Lepichev, the Dragons have someone that can help Will Artino anchor the defense in the paint. He's got the 6'9" frame, he's athletic, and he was really a matchup nightmare for guys like Delvin Go and even Anthony McLean. And when Lepichev is on point and he's providing support for guys like Cade Davis, Artino, and Amir Bell, the Dragons are just so difficult to defeat, because they now have a perfect mix of two-way players, which is not something that they've had in years past. In different years, they were able to get guys that were good on offense but struggled on defense, or they were able to get defensive-minded players that had their limitations on offense. And that has changed in this season, because guys like Artino are more than willing to also mix it up on defense, and that has been a difference maker. Now on the side of the Slingers, it has been a rough stretch for Singapore. They've now lost 2 straight games, coming off a loss against Mono Vampire in Stadium 29. And you look at the raw numbers. Guys like Xavier Alexander and Marcus Elliott each scoring 20 points in the game, but Alexander shot 5 for 15 from the field. And a lot of tension, not tension, but a lot of confusion right now and frustration, obviously, on the side of Stingers, trying to figure out why this on-paper combination of Marcus Elliott and Xavier Alexander has not been able to yield the desired results that you would expect two MVPs on the same team to be able to deliver. And you add to that also the continuing struggles of Delvin Go and Leon Kwek. This is now 2 straight games where they have struggled from the field. Delvin Go's only able to score 6 points on 3 of 9 from the field, while Leon Kwek only had 3 points on 1 of 6. And in previous games, when the Slingers were rolling, when they looked like a championship contender again this season, it is because guys like Kwek and Go have been able to contribute to support Alexander and Elliott, and of course with Anthony McLean anchoring the paint. And that just did not happen once again. And again, the Slingers showed that when they are too reliant on the world import, then that's not enough. You look at the minutes, Alexander, we know that he plays 39 a game, but McLean played 37 and Elliott played 38. And, you know, they get a lot of minutes there, but Delvin Go in 30 minutes was relatively ineffective, had a quiet night. So if you're a fan of the Singapore Slingers, now you're trying to figure out how can the team diversify their offense a little bit more so that guys like Kwek and Go can get more consistency and help out the talented MVP duo of Alexander and Elliott. And they've got to move fast because right now, the loss pushes the Singapore Slingers into 7th place in the standings. They are now with a 7-9 record, while the Dragons are comfortably in 4th place. They now leapfrog the Taipei Fubon Braves and now have a 9-7 card. And at this point, it's safe to say that the Dragons definitely are one of the biggest surprises of the season, or one of the positive surprises in the season for in this 10th season of the ABL. Let's move on to the second game, where Alab Pilipinas was able to win convincingly over the Saigon Heat 99-79. And what makes this victory even more impressive is that the Alab Pilipinas only played with 8 players. They were missing key guys like Andre Karakot and Jeremiah Gray. And not just that, again, the debut of Justin Brownlee, the world emperor that helped lead them to a championship 2 seasons ago, was unable to suit up once again. And that is still one of the biggest questions right now surrounding Alab Pilipinas. When will they be able to get Justin Brownlee back in the fold? Led by a solid performance from Sam DeGuara, who had 23 points and 8 rebounds. He was able to dominate the matchup against the Saigon Heat. And you also add to that Nick King, who continues to show that he is a crucial piece to this team. He had 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. But the game changer, or the guy that really stood up with all of the absences of the Alab Pilipinas squad, was none other than the veteran Lawrence Domingo, who had 18 points, and he also was able to chip in 6 rebounds and 2 steals. And it's good to see Lawrence Domingo being able to, who just reminded everyone on his home floor, you know, how he was such a crucial piece of Alab Pilipinas when they were new in the ABL. He was a guy that they relied on to anchor that power forward spot. But with different imports coming in and a lot of talented teammates, he has seen his lineup move from the starters to the bench. But now, with a lot more opportunities, he played 31 minutes. Domingo showed that he can still be a crucial factor, maybe even a potential 6th-man candidate for Alab Pilipinas. However, for the Saigon Heat, the struggles continue. And this time, because they were not able to get enough support from Sam Thompson, had 36 points and 10 boards. He also had 2 steals and from the field and 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. But beyond Thompson, guys like Malcolm White and Tyshawn Taylor did not really have memorable games. White only had 13 points and 4 rebounds, while Tyshawn Taylor had 7 points, 4 rebounds, although he had 13 dimes. And if you're Saigon Heat, right now their standing is 3-11 with 10 games remaining. The question is, it's a race against time, and how much time does the Heat have to try to make up some ground? After getting a victory 3 games ago, they've now lost 2 straight, and they've lost 4 of their last 5 contests, and they're now 3 of 7 from the road as well. And you look at this lineup of the Saigon Heat, talented imports like Malcolm White and Tyshawn Taylor. The question is, why have they been unable to string a few wins together? Is it because of the schedule? Is it because of the lack of local support? And you know, it's gonna be a big challenge for the Heat to try to get back into the playoff race, because they're in 10th place right now, and they are at least 3 games out of the playoffs, trying to catch up to the Macau Wolf Warriors. There's still time, but they have to find a way to get some consistency on their offense and defense to find a way to make one last playoff push. At this point, we would like to introduce a new part of the ABL Recap, which is our question of the day. And we'd like to ask all of you, which team has been the most surprising this season? either in a good way or a bad way. Is it the Dragons and their hot start and their continued playoff push that has been the most surprising part of the season? Or maybe it's teams like Saigon Heat or the Singapore Slingers, teams that have been perennial playoff contenders, now starting to really have their struggles heading into the midway and end point of the season. So let us know in the comments which team you think has been the most surprising and why. We would love to look at them. We would like to read through them, and maybe we'll even read some of the best answers on air on a later episode of ABL Recap. And for all of your favorite ABL moments, of course, you can catch all the videos, all the highlights, all of the recaps and everything on all of our social media platforms. Please follow us at the ASEAN Basketball League, and we'll make sure that you guys are always kept up to date on the latest happenings in the ABL. That is going to do it for this episode of ABL Recap. My name is Chuck Araneta, and we will see you on the next one.